Hello again, everybody. This is Jim from Jim's Holiest of Coleus, and it's that time of year. It has finally arrived here in New Jersey. The hot, humid weather is not overly humid, but it's getting a little more humid, but the heat is on, and that's great news for the Coleus. And I'm going to tell you, I check my plants daily, and the past week it's been pretty hot and humid. We've gotten a lot of rain here in New Jersey, but the past week the heat has been up. Although there's a nice cool breeze today, it's not tremendously humid. I would say it's maybe 70%, but the heat again is on. And although I check these daily, I notice overnight, I notice a marked difference in growth on many of the plants, particularly the smaller ones here. These are these are germinations that I seeded later than the majority of the plants, and I notice a big difference, and it really is amazing. It's been stalled here. It's been a very cool, rainy spring, as I had mentioned in my earlier videos, and it really stalled the growth. But now that again the heat is on, I'm getting exactly the growth that I wanted. And what I've been doing the past couple of weeks, I know I haven't posted a video in a week and a half or so, but every day I come out and make sure they're watered. Today I took them out onto my tables just to survey everything, but as you can see here, we got some growth coming in top, got some larger leaves that need to be trimmed, but the purpose is now at this level, what I do here, and you can you could do this with your own plants. It doesn't, just because I have so many plants, it doesn't make a difference. You can certainly correlate this to your own plants. It's the same thing on a smaller scale, but at this point you want to get that bottom growth coming in. Again, I've said this time after time, but that's how you learn. You hear it enough. You want to get these, as much as it's hard to do, get rid of some of these larger leaves to get those bottom leaves to come in, and you'll get a nice stronger plant down bottom. It won't lean over as much because these leaves are very top heavy. You can see here they're top heavy, and this is what I did trim. You can see some of the trimmings, but you see that new growth coming in. So these here, these two leaves, they're curling a little bit. These need to go. And again, as hard as it is to cut them, it's necessary, and in the long run you're going to thank yourself, and it won't take long. Once you cut these leaves here, don't be impatient. I find myself being a little impatient because I know what the plants are going to look like, but don't be impatient. Cut your leaves up top here, and you'll be surprised how fast those little buggers start coming in, because all the nutrition that the plant's using right now to keep these top large leaves going are sort of bypassing the little leaves. So once these are gone, these bottom leaves will get more nutrition, and they'll come in a little faster, and you'll have a nice, in another week or so, you'll have a more fuller plant. So be patient. So what I'm doing here again is just surveying everything I have. Let's get some of this. Just surveying everything I have, see what needs to be trimmed, any other problems I see, leaves on the bottom, some old stems maybe. Some plants may not be doing too well. That one there isn't doing that great. And when you grow a lot of plants like this, you're going to get a percentage of them that don't do well for whatever reason. So now I haven't watered them yet. You can see now a lot of people ask, how often do you water, and that all depends on the amount of sunlight your plants get, and and so forth. But you have to, and also what's important is if you have little pots like this, it doesn't take much for them to dry out. And clay pots and certain plastic, hard plastic pots dry out very fast, so you need to water them a little more often. Now pots like this, larger pots or hanging baskets, they may not need watering every single day. These I haven't watered in a couple of days. A good drenching. At this point now that they're more mature, I can give them a little more of a soaking. I know I said in the past that they don't like to be soaking wet. I don't mean drenched like flooded, but giving them a good amount of water where all of the soil is well watered, and I could tell by the heat, like I could feel this is kind of light, so I know it needs some water. And they're going to be out for a few hours. So I'm doing a number of things here. I'm hardening the plants, getting them used to being outdoors. There's a little bit of a breeze, not too much, that can damage the plants. But again, these are fairly mature. I want to say these are in their late teens. So these are teenage Coleus plants. So they're a little rambunctious. So now I made about a dozen hanging baskets. And hanging baskets are a lot of fun to make, especially if you have a large assortment of Coleus, because you could just use your imagination and just, you know, mix and match and do what you do. I wanted a nice bright, that's going to go fast. I want a nice bright, come and get me Coleus hanging basket. Look at that. Whoever gets that's going to be a lucky devil. So these are really, really coming along nicely. Again, good quality Miracle Grow. I rotate them in my greenhouse. I move them from one side of the greenhouse to the other, rotate them around, and make sure that all of my trays are moved around every few days or so. Different racks, up and down, back and forth, one side to the other. It's good because it gets them used to all the different angles and levels of sunshine, intensity, and so forth, because even in the greenhouse things are different. So and I have these really look nice. Once these are all full and you don't see any soil, they're really sharp planters. People really like these. And again, I get most of these from the dollar store. You know, these are the nursery pots that I use, that I grow all of my plants in after I separate them from the pods. And then once I have them going and I see what the Coleus are, then I go and design my other pots. And here's some decorative planters. I'm not going to buy these next year. I really just, I wasn't too impressed at the way the Coleus look in them. They're a little small. Coleus generally have big leaves. There's a number of Coleus plants that have a smaller leaf that look pretty nice like that. But overall, this is probably the minimum size pot that I'm going to go with from now on. But I saw these. They looked really nice. And, you know, like I said, I'm just not really impressed with them. So we'll see what happens soon. But these, again, these are one of my favorites. These oval pots, they look really nice once the Coleus are popped in. Now you can see some of those stems there. That's from when I trim the leaves. Those, once I sign off here in the video, I'm going to clear all that out, because you really want to get any kind of organic matter. I mean, that's not really serious, but you want to get as much organic matter out of there. And when I mean organic, I'm talking about leaves, stems, because that can, you know, you can promote rot and other, you know, bring on some other problems. So you want to keep it pretty, you know, pretty clear. Rotate them around. But I love these oval aluminum pots. They have nice little decorations on them, you know, the little butterflies, and I think I got a couple other designs here. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a hold of a bunch. I had a few left over from last year, but I couldn't get them. So what I find now are these. I have two types. They're in English and French, so that's good. But these are a little, they're a little larger than these. than these oval ones you can see next to me. They're a little larger, and they're a little sturdier. These tend to bend, a little sloppy, but I bought a case of them regardless. So yeah, so what I'm going to do now, again, I like to do this every few days, the weather depending, but get them all out into the air, get that oxygen, the wind pumping through here, does wonders for them. Gives me a good chance to make sure every one of them are looked at and watered well. And again, 90% or 95% of my Coleus are in good shape here. There may be a few of them, you know, I really trimmed a few of them down. I had some that needed to be trimmed. And again, here's some younger ones. That's a beautiful Coleus. And these will all be, before you know it, as beautiful as that. There's some jitters, some smaller Coleus. Those I got an awful lot of those. I'm so happy. I had the mother plant from a few years ago, and I specifically labeled the seed pod as the very bright pink Kong style, and luckily it's their offspring. This is actually this is a rooting from the mother plant, so it doesn't look that great, but I'm holding on. It's coming back. It looks sorry, but you see that intense pink coming back. That means it's on its way. So I'm holding out hope on that. That's gonna keep that. So I mean, I have a lot of the seeds, but I can never have too many seeds. So don't be impatient. This is the time. It's early to get your Coleus trimmed. There you go. There's a perfect example. Got these big leaves up top here, and I'm getting by trimming the top here, you're starting to wake up that growth on the bottom. And there's some of the stems that need to be cleared out, but you see that growth on the bottom. By trimming the top, you're going to get that growth to come in. And each Coleus is a little different. Some of them are a little faster than others. See, you have all that growth coming in. So don't be impatient. Trim them, keep them short. You know, they want to keep growing tall. Cut them. So this one was really tall. I cut it at the top, and that'll get that bottom in, because you want to keep them when they're in little pots like this. You want to get them. You want to keep them short, because then they get leggy and they look kind of ridiculous in these pots. There's a little mini Kong. That's still pretty young, but it looks nice in that little hanging pot. So same with these. Here's some other ones that these need to be, these outer ones that are hanging out here, they're kind of older. They need to be trimmed. That's a Defiance Coleus, and I'm not really sure. This is like a Kong variation. There's some other type of old, these are some other aluminum pots. Yeah, they take up a lot of soil. So I have a case of these. But these will look nice. Once they fill out, once they're all full and so forth, it'll look great. This is great for like a patio table or something, or on the side of a little deck step or something like that. They're light, so, you know, if you're going to have them outside, you got to make sure they're watered, or, you know, bring them in. And that goes for any of these little pots here. For even when later on, like in July, when they're nice and full and so forth, if you're going to get a thunderstorm and you got heavy rain, you got to bring them in, because, you know, they're going to blow around and there's the end of your plant. So the larger planters, you can see from a distance here, my yard, I have these concrete planters that I just planted some. These are some existing Coleus. These are heavy concrete planters, and these, as you can see from past Coleus, these stay out and they get wonderful. They just fill out gigantic. And I have a number of other pots along my property that I plant a variety of different Coleus, but I always I always include these because these are amongst my favorite, because they do very well in sun. You just got to make sure you water them. That's a nice little arrangement there, a little mix. So so just keep doing what you're doing. Be patient. Don't be impatient. Be patient. Trim the leaves, and the reward is right around the corner. Before you know it, you know, you trim these leaves, and in 2 days you'll start seeing some growth coming in. Get them outside a little bit. Get them used to the sun. And there you go. Let me go up and show you these other Coleus I have. These are just ones I bought for myself. Personal collection, and I'm just bringing them outside to get them used to being outside. So I'll bring them out for 2 hours or so in the sun, give them some water, and as you can see, I trim them because they want to grow real tall. And that's what I mean by hardening your plants. These are all rootings. They don't look really good now, but these will explode. These planters. Just to give you an idea. I trimmed a lot of the older dead. There's still some old weathered leaves that need to be trimmed, but these are coming back. I put some younger ones down here, and this will be just like the photos I showed you early. These huge Coleus. So, all right, so be patient, follow along. Any questions or comments, please leave at the message bar, and I will get back to you. Thank you very much for following Jim's Holiest of Coleus. Have a great week, everybody.